All right, what's up, guys? We are back and we have the GOAT crew here. We are on with Wes, Eric, Sean, and Greg from GOAT Authentics. Guys, what's going on?
Not much, my friend. Not much.
I'm Frank.
Good to be here.
Everything's good, man. Everything's good. So, the obviously the insane news that we heard last week, Mr. Man Cave. Okay. So we thought that it would be really relevant for us to come on today. It's fresh. It just happened. Everybody's got a lot of questions, right? So I wanted to talk to you guys about specifically Jordan, Gretzky, and Brady. Greg, I think we're going to start with you because Brady seems to be really the biggest focus as far as names go, right? And his memorabilia and what's going on with that. So for the people that don't know, Mr. Man Cave, Brett Lemieux was one of the owners or the mastermind behind this.
Right.
He came out with a Facebook post after they had the FBI had raided one of their warehouses and kind of laid out this grandiose scheme that they did, how they did it, why they did it, what they were able to accomplish. They're claiming that they sold 4 million items valued over like $350 million in sales over 20 years. They mentioned Brady. They mentioned Mahomes. They mentioned Judge. They did not mention Jordan and they did not mention Gretzky, but this has a ripple effect on the entire hobby, right?
Absolutely.
So Greg, so what are you hearing from Brady collectors specifically today while it's fresh? What is going through the minds of Brady collectors from your point of view?
Right now they're running scared. They're trying to authenticate everything. I mean, from the stuff that from the GOAT page, whether it's the GOAT page or the Tom Brady memorabilia authenticate page or whatever it looks like, they're running scared and coming after us, looking at saying, can you check this out? Can you check that out? And these are pieces that have never been forged. For example, the show piece with the big, huge signature. And I know there's a Gretzky one, there's a Jordan one, there's a Brady one. The Brady signature is like almost 24 inches long. They're asking us to authenticate that. And I'm like, all day long, I mean, we'll help you out whichever way we can.
Right.
But then there's also the other side where I'm seeing posts about from different collectors saying, oh, it's got a TriStar hologram. It's got to be fake. No, that's not true at all. Like I was just saying,
right? People are going to see TriStar in the news. You see a headline, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, so now everything, I don't trust anything that they put out.
Yeah,
and a lot of things. Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are taking that aspect. They're like, hey, we're seeing TriStar stuff. It's got to be fake. Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But, and the ripple effect is going to be that for a while, you're going to see a decline in the market unless it's authenticated by us. I really think by us. And I'm not going to get into the whole logistics of, what me and what we saw yesterday with another company of a TPA, but there's stuff out there that's going on that people need to understand that we when you have a laser focus, and at work I like to say shooting from a rifle, not shooting from a shotgun. When you shoot from a rifle and you study like Sean with Gretzky, I mean that's his beast. Okay, that's his. Wes and Eric with Jordan, me and Fran with Gretzky, and John's the one that John and Fran are the ones that busted the whole hologram thing back 8 years ago. I just kind of came in on the tail end of it. It was bad news. We exposed that a long time ago, and we still see it up to this day, up until an hour ago. Unauthenticated, a TriStar hologram Brady photo.
Right. I'm seeing, and this is in more of the general autograph groups, that people are literally saying, like, if I don't get it in person, then I don't trust it. Which in most cases is going to be nearly impossible, especially for the big guys, right? You're not going to just walk up to a Brady or a Mahomes or, maybe an Aaron Judge, but, some of these bigger guys are just unattainable. So what happens to the market of those guys like Jordan that you just can't walk up to and get an autograph from? I mean, are people really going to stick to that? Or is this something that's just going to kind of pass over time? But also, how long is it going to take for this to kind of just like, settle down a little bit and everybody feels like, okay, we understand what happened. We're schooled on it. We feel a little bit educated now. We have places like GOAT to come to authenticate these things. How long is that going to take for people to feel comfortable with, purchasing more collectibles for their collections?
I think literally it's up to the individual. I mean, I'm still searching for Brady stuff now. I mean, if I find something at a good value, I'm going to buy it today, all day long. I got no issues buying it. So
have you seen a lot of that? Have you seen a lot of people just like fire sale trying to dump stuff just because they're
Absolutely, I've seen that fire sale stuff, and it's like I've got this one friend of mine that lives in New York, and he's sending me stuff, and he's like, "Bro, look, I can buy this Brady autograph for $3.99," and I'm like, "It's an $900 picture all day long, or whatever it is." It's crazy what people are just trying to dump stuff, and not realizing that they've got a good item, and when they're good items regardless.
yeah.
You know what's funny is that they're dumping it thinking it's fake. So what does that say about them?
Right.
Right?
Or is it people that just feel like they can't trust the hobby anymore, so they just want to get out? I just don't want to deal with this anymore. There's too much uncertainty. I just want to get rid of my stuff, and I'll go find something else to do that's a little safer.
There's probably people like that, but I don't know many people that want to take a loss on something. So,
Yeah.
I think either the stuff that is being sold, and we're going to see a lot of people probably at this point know, like, crap, I bought from Mr. Man Cave.
Right.
The
Let
item
me unload it now.
more than likely than not is probably fake, because he probably produced more fakes than he bought good, and they have no shame. They're selling it on eBay right now, and if somebody bites, they bite.
Yeah.
Because most of the
100%.
people, I mean, especially the ones that are in the hobby, they know, right? So now everyone's going to look at that guy that's selling the Jordan jersey for, let's say a little bit of a discounted price. Now the red flag goes up, right?
Of course.
So, are they even going to be successful in trying to sell these items, with everybody, on kind of high alert now? So
I'll tell you, Frank, there is, because I scour eBay just like I'm sure the rest of these guys do as well. But I scour eBay all day long, and I see stuff that is just blatantly bad. Now, is it being bid on by real bidders? I don't know, but I see stuff being sold all day long that is just blatantly bad on a Brady side. And I'm like, where are these people? Are they real bids? Are they not? I don't know. I can't tell. But it's being sold. There's bad stuff being sold all day long.
Yeah, and it's, for a lot of these guys, especially the guys we're talking about, Jordan, Gretzky, Brady, the stuff is expensive. So you would assume that it's not an uncle trying to buy a gift for his nephew, and he's just not educated in a Brady, a Jordan, or a Gretzky autograph, right? So you have to think that these are real collectors. So how are they not seeing, what you guys are seeing?
I think there's very few real collectors out there, truthfully. People like us, like this group right here, including yourself, Frank, like all of us are collectors. It's why we're even doing what we do. It's because we're collectors, and we wouldn't be as good if we weren't collectors. It's because we have a passion we love, and we're not sitting here buying to flip. We're buying to collect, to keep memories, to pass it down maybe to our children or whatnot. So when you have that uncle that's looking to buy something, I would say 95% of the community is buy for it's going to be worth something in the future, or it's a good deal and I'm going to flip it.
I agree with that 100%. I think a big part of the consumer base is the guy that's just buying a few pieces to put up in his basement or around his bar or in the garage, or it's a gift, like you said, for an uncle or a collector relative. Yeah. But the guys that are passionate like us, that have invested so much time and energy and money into one specific athlete, we're few and far between for the most part. We're a very small percentage of the entire community.
Right. So Sean, since they didn't mention Gretzky at all, from what I saw, I went on the site. I didn't see any Gretzky stuff that he was selling, at least right now. But is anybody safe? Is any athlete safe? And are you seeing any of these effects within the Gretzky community, or is it like, okay, they didn't mention Gretzky, so we're good?
No, we're definitely not good. And if you were on my, I have a Facebook user group called Wayne Gretzky, and we have over 35,000 collectors on there. And 6 months ago, I made a very lengthy, detailed post calling out Mr. Man Cave because a colleague of mine bought 38 Gretzky pucks, and every one of them was auto-penned, and every one of them had WGA holograms and WGA letters. And,
and he bought 38.
He saw it on Amazon, which where Mr. Man Cave was selling.
Yeah, on Amazon,
and,
eBay.
And he saw it, and he saw the puck, and he said, "Oh, great deal on the puck, $150. It's $600 or $700 puck." So he bought one, and then he noticed later there was more for sale, so he bought a couple more, and then he ended up getting in touch with them and doing the deal for 30-some pucks or whatever, because he thought he was kicking ass on the deal kind of thing. And as he realized, every time he was buying, the inventory was replenishing on the Amazon counter that talks about how many are available for stock.
Right.
So then
just
it started
like that immediately.
Yeah, it kind of raised a flag with him, and he reached out to me. And before he actually even received the pucks, he sent me photos, and I didn't even have to zoom in on the photos. I immediately knew they were auto pen. And I broke the news to him. So, you know, he's initiated the process of getting his money back through the vendor and things like that, which I think he was successful in. But I took all of the information and I made, like I said, a very lengthy, detailed post about this and called him out. And then another person chimed in about an experience they had. And I encouraged that person to take their information and mine and take it to the FBI. I said, they're probably watching him anyway. And then it all went away. You know, people commented and some people thought, oh, you know, he's been scamming for years. You know, some people knew about him and knew his history, but most people had no idea. But yeah, like 6 months ago, almost to the day, I called him out on the pucks thing. So if he had a massive inventory of Auto Pen Gretzky pucks, I can guarantee you there's jersey numbers signed and other items. It's just, you know, they're out there.
Right. And they kept, I think he kept changing names, right, of his companies. So he would go from one company to another company to another company. And I guess that's kind of how he was able to sustain this for, you know, 20 years. But yeah, that's crazy.
And I've looked at, you know, in the last year especially, dozens of Gretzky signed jerseys and photos and things that have very legitimate looking Upper Deck authenticated holograms and letters, or the letter cards, and same as WGA, Wayne's own company that he owned that used to produce this stuff, and all of it fake. But some of it really horrible fake. So, I mean, Mr. Mancave was not the only one in the game. But, you know, I'm sure now in hindsight, those were coming out of his organization as well.
Right. So, Wes and Eric, Jordan wasn't mentioned either. Neither was Upper Deck. They said JSA, Panini, TriStar, all that. Some of like lower, like Radke and some other, you know, smaller companies. But
GTSM and all those guys.
Right. So, what is the impact that you guys are seeing on the Jordan community specifically?
I don't know that I've really seen a shift in the market in like terms of prices or anything like that, but just the primary thing I'm seeing, and maybe it's a blessing in disguise on a long-term basis, is people are finally showing the diligence that they should have been showing the whole time in getting these items checked, even
just
if
like
it has an
always
Upper
telling
Deck
people,
hologram.
you know, buy the autograph, not the certification, right? So now you think that people are going to finally start coming around to that?
Yeah.
No, I think people have to do both now. You know,
buy
the signature, buy the certificate. You know, people come to us to check the signature. You better come to us to check the hologram as well now, not just the signature.
100%.
Right.
It's both.
Yeah. So we, like I was saying, we haven't really seen a big change in the market in terms of inventory and pricing or anything like that, but there definitely is a lot of panic, you know, and that's understandable when the average jersey is selling for $8K plus, you know. So I really think this is going to encourage people to be extra careful when they're purchasing, making sure that they know who they're doing business with and getting these items checked in a appropriate manner.
I've had people come to me that have double checking items that we've already approved, you know, months ago, saying, just want to get, you know, your eyes on it one more time, or, you know, this was approved a while ago, but I figured why not ask again with everything that's happened
After the story broke.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And it's 100%. Items that we looked at already, and they're still coming back to us to say, just one more time, let's just make sure.
Right. Yeah. So are you guys making it a point, or have you made it a point previously, to tell people, yeah, that's safe if it's live? If it's
we
live,
always
we always say that.
You have to say if it's live.
Right.
Unless somebody wants a full authentication, it's very hard on a picture. I think, at least with I think on jerseys and some other items, it's easier to see the ink and the flow and the pressure. But like on a card or a photo, for instance, you know, an opinion is just that. It's a quick glance. You know, you're looking at the formation, I think, more than anything else, if you can see the pressure and whatnot, the slant. But if you really want to know if it's actually a full authentication for a reason, you have to send it in.
You gotta. Have you guys provided any service like that?
That's one of the things we say as well. Whenever we see a card,
if live,
if it's live, and I'll always put it, and Fran will always put it, and we'll say, if that's live ink, then it's good, you know?
Yes.
Right. And that was the same thing with Outer Safe, you know, with their baseball group. They weren't doing cards, and that was probably a big reason why, because it was so hard to tell from a picture if it was live ink or if it was printed. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So one of the things that we spoke about earlier before we started recording was that Brett Lemieux had posted something on the Autographs 101 Facebook group, right? So he puts out this big long story about what they did, how they did it. You know, I assume everybody here got a chance to read that in detail. So there was, I mean, at least for me, and I don't know if anybody else read it this way, I mean, there was no remorse in what he wrote.
No.
That was a manifesto.
Yeah,
manifesto, exactly.
Quite the opposite of remorse,
yeah.
Yeah.
He wanted to go down a legend. He wanted to go down as the king of forgeries.
Yeah, he went down all right.
Yeah. I think the thing that, and obviously, and I had spoken to Greg about this already, whenever somebody commits suicide, there's a ripple effect to that, right? You have a wife, you have kids, a mom loses a son, a brother loses, a sister loses a brother. There's a lot that goes on with that. I'm not condoning what he did in the way he scammed, so many people out of hundreds of millions of dollars, if all that is true. But, so that there's a darker side to the story more than people just losing their money. I find it hard to feel bad about what happened to him after seeing the post that he made. I mean, he was calling companies his bitch, right? Yeah. So he was really like digging into these guys like I got you. Like, I'm going to go, but I got you, And, I felt like a lot of it also, it kind of felt embellished to me. I feel like the numbers might not be what he's saying they are, right? And it could be because this was really a manifesto for him. This was him. I'm the greatest scammer of all time. You guys are going to remember me for this, and this is my send off. Do you think that once this investigation is over, that we're going to see that these numbers are not what he claimed them to be? Or do you think that over the 20 years, it's actually kind of plausible that he would have sold that many items for that much money?
I'm not sure we'll ever know that. I'm not sure that they'll even have the means to find that out. They can only go so far with the paper trail and things, and I'm sure a lot of it was done off of any books. So I'm not sure we'll ever know the true magnitude of it.
He claims he has a spreadsheet with
a big
all
spreadsheet.
The holograms. Yeah. He claims he has a spreadsheet with all the holograms that they've ever duplicated, over the 20 years. But yeah, I mean, it might be a situation where we just never know. And, we're just kind of seeing this kind of like ripple effect for many years. Maybe it subsides a little bit, but I think it's always going to be in the back of everybody's minds.
Well, I think that we saw he talked about 350 million, or the FBI talked about 350 million. Then another company that a day or two later, and Eric and Wes and Sean know what I'm going to talk about. But then there's another company that came out with a PSA basically saying that it was $1 billion.
I think I saw that.
And I'm like, billion now? It's $1 billion? It's going from 350 to $1 billion? I mean,
it's a large gap, yeah.
I in my estimation, I think the numbers are probably inflated. Like you're saying, Frank, is that he's trying to make himself look like, hey, I'm Mr. Man Cave. I'm and with emphasis on the Mr., like look at me type of thing.
Right.
But
exaggerated or not, though, I'm quite confident, or at least my gut is saying it was a big operation. Because for the FBI to be chasing it for,
not a question.
They said they'd been chasing this for a long time. This wasn't a 2-month investigation.
No, I think they said it was a decade. I think they said it was like 10 years.
So, when you think about that and the fact that they raided 2 warehouses and took away truckloads of stuff. So just what he had in inventory was millions.
Yeah.
So you multiply that, over 10, 15 years, whatever he was doing it. I think this is very easily hundreds of millions of dollars. Maybe not 600 or 700 million, but I'd say no problem a couple $100 million. And that is a lot of collectibles. A lot.
He said the day Kobe passed away, he had 80,000 sold. I mean, that's hard to believe.
Put out into the world, or did he actually?
No, he said after Kobe passed, which, you know what, I think 80,000 is possible, but 80,000 maybe over the course of the last 5 years after Kobe passed. But he made it sound like it was 80. Kobe passed away, and I had 80,000 items sold, almost like within that week.
I mean, I personally think it's possible that the number. I mean, I think the numbers are probably exaggerated to a certain extent. But think of all the platforms he was selling on, and all the people he was selling to on those platforms. So you have to figure.
Think about the people that were selling for him as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. But but you have to figure that a lot of the people who were buying, like, say, off Amazon and stuff, like, probably aren't even a part of these communities on, like, Facebook and stuff. Like, they probably haven't even heard of this news yet. How many tens of thousands of people are there out there like that? I mean, like, kind of like Sean said, I don't think we'll ever know the true reach, but it's definitely the largest in the modern era of collecting. And
this is definitely Operation Bullpen. This is Bullpen 2.0.
I don't think we'll ever see another scandal like this because of the awareness now.
Exactly.
Right? I don't think this will be duplicated.
Right. So the FBI understand, you got to kind of build a case against somebody, right? The FBI, you're not just going to call the FBI, give them a name of somebody and an address. They're going to go knocking on the door, right? They have to do their due diligence. They're going to build a case. Do you think that a situation like this will help them to maybe expedite things like this in the future, knowing that, hey, listen, think about how many items he must have sold in the last 10 years while they were watching him.
Frank, after Operation Bullpen, I'm not sure why it took them 10 years to get this done.
Yeah.
10 years is a lot of stuff. You're watching hundreds of millions if we're talking about the numbers that were said, sold into the community. Why would it take 10 years? I want to know why it took them 10 years to gather this.
And I guess you have to define watching, right? What does watching you for 10 years mean? Is it just like, okay, we know who he is. If something big happens, then we'll jump in.
He has a history of this that he was charged for even prior to this went down. So this is somebody that has a record, and yet you let this go on for 10 years?
Yeah.
Well, to piggyback on the frustration there, I think I speak for the four of us that we've been talking about these types of operations for at least half a decade minimum each. So it's just kind of hard for me to mentally process all the outrage because we've been talking about this for a long time. And it kind of took an event like this for everyone to come around. So this didn't happen overnight. And a lot of people have seen it evolve and have been trying to sound the sirens, but unfortunately, this is what it took for everyone to wake up at once.
So have any of you guys spoken to dealers that maybe have purchased things from him?
I personally have not.
I have not.
I'd say they're too embarrassed to talk about it.
Well, I've spoken
that's
to
another thing.
A large company that was part of the scam that was having their players duplicated actually right after this went down. And they feel that the numbers are actually very embellished. They didn't feel that the numbers were accurate. And this is a company that was directly affected by this.
I have seen one or two companies come out and make statements saying that the stuff with their association to it is good, not to worry. But I think there's a lot of companies that don't want to talk about it if they had dealings with them because it's going to sink them even further than this is, hurting them already.
Well, plus the public embarrassment.
Exactly.
Right, now we have to hope that embarrassment doesn't actually cause them to just keep that stuff in their inventory, right? I mean, you hope that, okay, we're embarrassed. Maybe we don't want to talk about it publicly, but we got to get rid of this stuff. And for some people, it's going to be a tough bullet to bite, man. I mean, if you went out and you bought $80,000 worth of inventory from this guy and you're sitting on that, a lot of people I feel like would be very hard pressed, unfortunately, to destroy that stuff.
And I agree. I think a lot of them are still going to just over time keep it in and introduce it into their inventory and let it go still because they can't afford to eat it.
Yeah.
The truth of the matter is these items will be in the marketplace for the next 20, 30 plus years.
More.
I was going to say for quite a long time.
Forever.
Yeah. I mean, so it is on the TPAs, but also the consumers to really learn what they're looking at.
Look, it's and it's the flipper mentality that kind of I think also helps. Forget the people that did the dealers that bought in bulk, but like you have that guy that goes on. He's like, oh my god, this Tom Brady helmet's 50% off, and they buy the helmet and they
edit.
Or they resell it on Facebook Marketplace, or they resell it on eBay.
The R word, Wes. You don't say the R word.
Let's back up. You have the reseller that buys an item that they think they're getting a great deal on Man Cave, and then all of a sudden, this person's not a big distributor, but he'll buy an item here and there and flip it in a Facebook group or on eBay. It doesn't. It's not only the distributors, and that's millions of people that are just buying one item, two items, and then putting it back in the market.
Well, and to piggyback on what Wes is saying, when you look at eBay, I mean, I buy stuff on eBay all the time, whether it be for my house or whatever, not just sports memorabilia, but whether it be stuff I need around the house or for the car, whatever it may be. The first thing I do is I go to feedback. I look at the seller's feedback. If the seller has 99.8% or 99.5% feedback, it's a trusted seller. I'm going to buy from them.
Yep.
So I think like Sean and Eric and everyone is saying is that this stuff is going to continue to infiltrate into the place when you have especially now at this time of year, here coming up in August and next week, and you're getting into holiday time. Sue is going to want to buy Bob a Christmas present or something like that. And they're going to go to eBay because they know they can get money back guarantee or anything along that line, and they'll buy, and these pieces are going to infiltrate into the hobby. I guarantee it.
Yeah. So eBay right now is authenticating higher end stuff, you know, trading cards over what is it, like $200, $300. They do luxury items, right? They do all that stuff. Bags. Do you think that something like this is going to push them to introduce something that authenticates sports memorabilia?
I don't think.
I mean, they'd have to bring somebody in, obviously, that, you know, knows what they're doing.
That's the problem. I don't think they have anyone that truly knows forget the signature, but the holograms themselves as this group right here, you know.
Yeah.
And they could say they do, but you're talking about Greg and Sean and Eric and myself that have been doing this. You know, we're collecting for 20 years. We could tell you sequences, we could tell you fonts, we could tell you, you know, the years to what. I don't, you know, it's not something you could just learn overnight. So eBay could go to whatever third party they want to, which I don't think is going to happen because I just don't think these people know the information as we do.
And there's only
that plus coupled with the fact, like on the Brady side, if somebody buys a signed card, okay, 99.99% of the signed cards that are out there that weren't pack pulled are not real. Okay. But eBay has this authentication service. All they're doing is they're authenticating the card. They're not authenticating the signature.
Right.
Okay. But people think they don't advertise that. Mm-hmm. So people think they're getting an authentic item and it's in their collection. When they bring it to us, we're going to tell them that it's not legit. And they're like, well, eBay authenticated it. Well, no, they didn't.
Yeah. That causes a lot of confusion. And we see that often as well on the Jordan side.
I was going to say there's not enough experts out there to fulfill the need of what they would need for the amount of stuff that they sell, the amount of autographs that they sell in the run of a year.
You know what I mean? Insane, yeah.
Could we handle the three athletes that we look after? Maybe, but boy, you know, there'd be a lot of work for us. Where are they going to find the experts for all of the other athletes that sell hundreds and thousands of autographs every year on the platform, right?
And not just that, coupled with the fact of who is their authenticator.
And even when you look at the big authenticators, you know, the PSAs and the Beckett's and things like that, where are they drawing their expertise? So if someone sends in an Ohtani autograph item for authentication, are they using what they deem to be known good autographs for comparison? Because they don't have an expert for every athlete. So where are they getting the knowledge? Are they going to look at what they always thought was legitimate when actually they might be comparing it to Mr. Man Cave autographs?
Exactly.
Right?
And we see on the past like
people,
that.
Right.
Yeah.
I've got tons of examples of slabbed bad autographs. I have a library of them.
Yeah. You see people in Facebook groups and they'll post a picture of theirs and it's like, I don't know, man, it doesn't look like mine.
Yeah.
And it's that's probably what they're doing. Yeah.
That's why we don't even allow pictures in the GOAT group for people when they submit. But I could tell you a very large third-party authenticator, because they had a certain style, which was a good example. If you go back to the late 80s, maybe early 90s, was never removed from their good exemplars, and they were passing them today. Known secretarial styles.
And I don't know about Brady and Jordan, but I know with Gretzky, I have a timeline of his autographs from, the 70s right up to now.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, the guys look at you like you have two heads when you tell them that the 77 autograph was signed by the same person as the 97 autograph, because they do not look like the same person signed them. Not even close.
No. Especially when you compare it to like an in-person signature.
Yeah, and there's dozens of iterations.
It's never going to be
of his
remotely close. Yeah. So what do you guys think is going to happen with these authenticators? So you've got, your Beckett, your PSA, JSA, Panini, Upper Deck. How does this affect them and the security measures that they have to take moving forward for either their databases or their holograms? I mean, do you guys see them doing anything drastic? Or do you think that they're just going to kind of business as usual?
I don't see them doing a lot.
Yeah, I hate to be totally honest about this, Frank, but I don't know that they necessarily mind this, because it encourages people to buy direct.
To go to them, right?
We've seen it with Upper Deck, right? Eric, when we spoke with Collect, and Upper Deck's solution was to, well, all right, we're not just going to verify, a hologram and a signature. Now you have to provide hologram, signature, and a certificate. They've been verifying fake holograms for a long time. And a matter of fact, after they decided to move forward with this new policy, I sent them 2 fake holograms with the same number, and they verified both as authentic.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Just because they manufacture a product doesn't mean that they're knowledgeable about it, you know? And we see that all the time with Upper Deck especially. So that's all I can speak to on that.
And the solution, you know, saying that we need to have the certificate to verify the hologram, you're actually only helping the forgeries, because these certificates have been lost over years and years. Not most, but a good amount of the authentic items don't even have the certificates anymore. So the fake ones that are being produced are passing by Upper Deck, and then the real ones can't get authenticated because we don't have the certificates to do so.
Yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah, that's interesting. So yeah, so I mean, listen, for you guys at Go to Authentics, you guys when did you guys officially start Go to Authentics, Wes?
It was 2022.
2022. I mean, now's the time, right? I mean, you want to talk about perfect timing. You guys got the Facebook group up. You've got how many followers now? You got what? You're in the 8,000. What do you?
We're approaching 8,000. We got 7.6 thousand right now.
Have you seen a jump in those numbers?
7,000. Yeah, 7,600. We went from, I think, Eric, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we had 72 prior to last week before the news came out, and now we're up to 76.
Something like that. Yeah, we
Right?
It's crazy.
A couple hundred at least, within a couple days. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is still fresh, and people are still, going to find out about this, as time moves forward. But I just can't imagine that you guys will not be the go-to moving forward for collectors of Brady, Jordan, Gretzky, eventually Ronaldo when West comes around, and right.
Day by day, I'm getting there.
Okay, good. But yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that you guys won't be the go-to. And obviously, I wish you guys all the success in the world. You guys are great, and I hope that this happens. But what do you want to say to the collectors who are apprehensive now about either being in the hobby, about their stuff that they have in their collection now? What do you want to tell them to make them feel comfortable moving forward in this hobby?
I'd like to tell them we're here to help. We're here to help as much as possible. Show us your stuff. We'll be glad to help you out any way we can. We operate as a unit for a reason, and it's a collective opinion that we're not going to give you bad advice. We're here to help, and bottom line, we're collectors.
Yep.
As you can see.
No,
I
see it.
I think having a stream of fakes in the market just makes the authentic items even more desirable, invaluable.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's how
do you think that you're going to see some prices spike on the stuff that's actually authentic? So let's just say something has Upper Deck, it has a Go to Authentics LOA. Yeah. Do you think that those items all of a sudden do become more desirable, and now people can get more money for those because they are triple authenticated, and maybe you guys are that last stop? Maybe it does have Upper Deck and JSA. Oh, but wait, this one's got Go to. Now this is absolutely legit. I feel much more comfortable buying this. I'm willing to pay more for it. Do you see something like that happening?
I don't personally know if we'll see a change on the monetary side, but I do think we'll see people getting items cross-certed much more often. And I think that's a great thing, man. And I'm very excited for us selfishly with everything going on, because this is the kind of stuff we've been educating and preaching on for years. Yeah. But I also hope that this encourages the other third-party authenticators to communicate with each other, just in the hopes of getting things right. I know money matters. I know it's business, but it's important that we start really focusing on getting things right and having that be first and foremost. Yeah. So that would be a nice shift to see happen.
Have you guys had anything slip through the cracks
in regards to
Mr. Man Cave stuff that you guys have said yes to and then looked back and you were like, well, wait a second, yes, Safe If Live, but have you seen anything definitively where you're like, you know what, I now that I'm looking at this again, I don't like it?
I don't think we could say that for Jordan. I can't speak to Gretzky or Brady.
I don't think that for Gretzky.
Not for Brady, no, because I'll tell you, they were easy to spot.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have been following this for many more years than I literally just found out about this guy not too long. I haven't been in this in depth as long as you guys have. So you guys have had your, finger on the pulse of this for a long time. So I'm sure he's been, him and others have been on your radar, for quite a while.
At the end of the day, I think it's going to be really good for us. I think there's going to be a lot of growth in it. I think we're already seeing signs of people wanting that extra step. I mean, one guy this week submitted 4 of his items, and all 4 were Upper Deck authenticated. They were all good, but he wanted that assurance. And I think he went on to get the letters as well. So, you know, people are going to want to take that extra step, spend that little bit of extra money to have that assurance with their items because, you know, there were so many bad holograms and things out there. They want that assurance.
Yeah, especially that all of these athletes have really produced some very high-end memorabilia, right?
Absolutely.
So for someone who has a $9,000, $10,000 Jordan jersey or a $5,000 Brady helmet, you know, I mean, I'm not sure how high the Gretzky stuff goes, if it goes as high as those guys do.
Some does.
But,
Some
you know,
does.
for you, so for you to spend an extra $125 or whatever it may be, you know, to get something authenticated again and feel comfortable about it, I mean, that's a great investment for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But you'd have to think, though, that a story this big is going to scare a lot of the people that are also at it to maybe think twice and to maybe take a step back, because they're going to wonder, well, shit, if they were being watched for 10 years, am I being watched? Is somebody putting me on someone's radar? So it may reel those in a little bit, you know, because there definitely has to be a fear factor because this has got such big reach and it's such a deep story.
Yeah.
I can tell you from a Brady standpoint, we've seen some stuff from a couple of different people out of the Texas, Las Vegas, Nevada area that is just generating some really, really bad stuff, especially like on eBay and things along that line.
Texas is huge. Nevada, Atlanta, Georgia. And now I'm seeing a lot come up from like the Massachusetts area.
Well, I got into it with one guy from Massachusetts.
Yeah, I bet. I'm seeing a lot.
Atlanta, don't be talking about my Brave stuff. If I got to get all that out.
I can't talk about the Brave stuff, but I can tell you there's a lot of fake Jordan coming out of Atlanta.
Yeah. So do you think that now, obviously the higher ticket items was attractive to these guys, right? You fake a Jordan, you're literally making $8,000 profit or whatever it is, right? He said it cost them $150 for an auto pen machine, figure the hologram, whatever those cost. So those were big ticket items, and it made sense for them to, you know, to manufacture those, you know, those auto pen signatures. Do you think that this switches the mindset of a scammer to maybe go a little under the radar and maybe now forge some guys that are maybe not as popular, so that people kind of look at it and say, well, who would forge a Freddie Freeman baseball, right? Who would forge a Lamar Jackson jersey? You know, things like that. Maybe guys that aren't considered GOATs, but will we start to see more lower end auto pen forgeries, things like that?
Interesting take. I think you certainly could, because at the end of the day, if that's all those guys know, they might as well find a way to try and stay off the radar in their eyes, and that's certainly a good way to do it, is to not market the big stuff, just do it on quantity versus, you know, the
which
big
is also
dollar
scary
items.
because most people wouldn't bat an eye at, you know, buying $100 baseball on eBay for a lesser known guy and think, hey, listen, you know, who's going to forge a Yogi Berra autograph, right?
Right.
$89. Yeah, well, you would, which sucks for me because I got a lot of low stuff.
You know, at the end of the day, though, Frank, if you're going to buy a $25 baseball and you can, and I'm gonna out myself here a little bit because I learned something just this week. I did not know that. I thought auto pen was only on a flat surface. I did not know you could auto pen a 3D item. I didn't know that.
Same.
Really crazy.
But if you can get a $25 baseball and, like you said, put an Anthony Rizzo signature on it or something like that and sell it for $50, hey, I'll take 100% profit all day long.
Yeah, you do that 1,000 times. You know, that could definitely fly on the radar. So that's something that's definitely scary. You know, I think that people should also be, you know, looking out for. It's not always going to be those high ticket items. If somebody can make $50 here, $50 there, they're gonna find a way to do it.
Yeah, it's real money, and more important to the guys that are doing it, it's real easy money. So, you know, it just gets infectious.
It wouldn't surprise me if that's how Brett started out.
Sure, absolutely.
Oh yeah, you get a little taste of it, and all of a sudden you dig yourself deeper, deeper, and deeper, and now.
Well, I think that was part of his post, right? Because he said that, you know, once I think, I'm not going to mention one of the guys' names, but one of the guys kind of introduced him to, it might have even been the Tom Brady stuff, but he introduced him to these big ticket items, and then it was like, oh my God, and then you get addicted to it, and then it's a rush because now you're, you know, able to make $3,000 here, $5,000 there, claiming that he can make $100,000 in a week if he wanted to.
Right.
You know, that's big money, and you know, so I can see how the big ticket items are attractive, but I can also see how those lower ticket items can fly under the radar. So people have to be especially careful no matter what the price is.
Yep.
Still check the autograph, still check the cert, and come to guys like you that can authenticate these things and make people feel more comfortable about the stuff that they're purchasing.
We're here.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Do you guys have was there anything that we didn't touch on that you guys want to touch on?
So I selfishly wanted to ask Greg and Sean, like what the evolution has been like with Mr. Man Cave items with Gretzky and Brady. I didn't know like a whole lot about it. Well, I saw that Fran and John posted on it like in years past, but I can't say that I looked that closely into it. Did they continue to evolve the operation to the point where it got pretty damn good, or was it always decent? Or
it was the signatures that they came out with for Brady they were just not good.
Okay.
I mean, they were easy to spot, not just the holograms, but the signatures themselves. None of their signatures looked good. I don't know if they were auto penning them back then. I don't think they were, because there were so many different variations of it, but each variation was all bad.
Interesting.
Yeah, and when it comes to Gretzky, I mean, sorry, I only
go ahead, Sean.
became aware of Mr. Man Cave back when those pucks, came to light. So I don't really have a history of Mr. Man Cave. I never really heard of him until
that's what I want
now.
to ask you, Sean. With those pucks, when you were looking at them, were the signatures identical on some of them, or were they all different?
Absolutely identical. Absolutely identical.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Like placement, everything.
Everything. Like, it was, like I said, the guy sent me the picture of, he sent me a bunch of pictures, but there'd be 9 or 10 pucks in a photo, and I didn't even have to zoom in looking at the photo.
They were all just the
I
same.
knew immediately they were just the same.
And I guess when you're doing it at that volume that he was doing it at, you're not paying attention to the details like that. Like, oh, everything is in the same exact spot. Let me move some of these over this way. Let me do some of these, maybe horizontal.
We see that on cards, Frank. We're seeing that, Eric, on those. As a matter of fact, someone submitted one of those blue auto pen cards today, where it's the same signature. But what they're doing is they're moving it slightly over to the right, left, or they're even overlapping, taking the Jordan and just kind of moving it forward or back over the Michael to make it look a little different. But the formation, every letter is exactly the same.
Right. Yeah. That's crazy. I'm coming up with a lot of good ideas. I'm not a scammer, by the way.
Right.
I know it sounds like I am because I'm coming up with all the things, but it's not. I just don't have time. I really don't have the time to do it.
Call me after this, Frank. We'll talk.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, so obviously if there's anything else you guys want to talk about, we're going to chop up all this little stuff. But I know it's getting late. I know Greg's got to go. So we can either sign off, or if you have anything else you want to bring up, then we can...
I don't know if that's so much I want to bring up, but I do. If Greg and Sean, if you guys have like maybe 2 minutes just to talk about yourselves and, how you came to be passionate and why you do what you do, I would love to have that as part of at least one of the podcast.
Yeah, I've been a fan of Brady since he was in high school. I didn't really know much about him then, but I remember hearing his name. Followed him in Michigan, went to the 2000 Orange Bowl, watched him beat Alabama. That was classic down here in Miami. And then ever since then, I just followed his career, whether it be through college, starting out in 2001 in New England, and just watching him. I lived in Boston for a long time, so I've been a lifelong Patriots fan. Just looking at his variations of signature, whether it was, and I just recently saw a signature of his from high school in a high school yearbook, and I'm like, wow, and I actually bid on that item. It was in an auction. I didn't get it, but I would have loved to have had it. But to see his variation go from a child or a high school kid to college to Wes and Eric and Sean, what I showed you guys yesterday in that first signing in 2001. To where it's evolved up until today. And I can tell you that we're just, me, John, and Fran, we all talk about it, that it's stunning to see where he went from as many years as he was with TriStar and switched over to Fanatics a few years ago. To see the evolution of where it's gone from then to then is crazy, to where it goes from, it was such a beautiful signature back when he was younger to today. It's just
use a lot of that detail.
It's tough to watch, but we've probably seen hundreds of thousands of different signatures over the years.
Yeah.
I think he had there was a video from Fanatics Fest. I think it was last year's Fanatics Fest, where he explained his signature, because I think he bought a card from one of the dealers.
Correct.
And he was explaining the T, the B, and then how he kind of integrated the 12, I think, early on, like it's kind of like I guess like in the B maybe or something like that.
I think he mentioned from his father or something.
Yeah,
I heard him say that, Frank, and I think that's just Brady being Brady. I mean, I didn't buy it for I didn't second.
Yeah,
he looks like a liar.
That's like when everyone says
you, though, the
the 23
TB12 logo.
Yes,
yeah. You know, the TB12 logo is easily, you could tell the 12 and all that kind of stuff.
Right, sure.
In his signature, I don't see it.
Yeah. So Sean, what about you with Gretzky and kind of how you got into your love of Gretzky memorabilia?
Yeah, well, I mean, I grew up a hockey fan. I grew up in Eastern Canada. And in 1980, my family moved out to Alberta. And in 79-80 was when the Edmonton Oilers came into the NHL. And of course, Gretzky, you know, was part of the Oilers organization. And as a 13-year-old, when I moved here, I came from an area in Canada that got hockey on Saturday nights at 9:30 past my bedtime. And that was the only televised hockey down there. I moved out west to Alberta, where the games came on starting at 5 o'clock. And there seemed like there was a game on TV every night. So this opened up a whole new accessible world to me for hockey. And I made the decision. I was a Boston fan growing up, because in Eastern Canada, you're always a fan of an Original Six team, because those are the only televised games you got, was Original Six games. So I was a Boston fan. And when I moved to Alberta, you know, I took it all in and I said, well, you know, we're starting over in Alberta. The Oilers are into the league now. I'm going to become an Oilers fan. So that's when I started cheering for the Oilers. And of course, you know, I watched all the games, and how could you not like what Gretzky was doing as a kid in the league? And I became a huge fan of what he was doing in the league. And I got to enjoy an era of hockey where my team won 4 Stanley Cups in their first 7 years in the league or whatever it was. So it was just a fantastic time to be rooting for a team that was doing so well and had someone like Wayne leading the charge. And then once I discovered there was a whole hobby and world built around collecting autographs and memorabilia and things, I actually started hounding and autograph hounding. And I didn't live in Edmonton. I lived 4 hours north of Edmonton in a city called Fort McMurray. So every time I got the chance, I would go to Edmonton and hound autographs. And even when he was an LA King, I would go to Edmonton and always stay at the same hotel as the team. And it was always the same team. I got to know all the staff there, and they let me do my thing uninterrupted.
Nice.
And yeah, the more I hounded, the more I saw variances in his autograph even, you know. I got to know that the autograph I was getting on the way to the morning skate was a lot better than the one I was getting at midnight when they won a game and went to the bar and he came back snapped. So, you know, you start to see all the different variations in his autograph just by being in one place over the course of 12 hours.
Yeah, that's amazing.
You know, and then as it grew and my ability to, I guess, to spend disposable income in the hobby and be in the right place at the right time, it's like anything. The more you embed yourself into anything, the more versed you become in it, and the more experience you get, and the more knowledge you soak up. And as I got older, and again, I built my, I guess, hobby and what reputation I have as a game-worn collector as well. I have a massive game-worn equipment.
You got to see his collection, guys.
Collection.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
One of the best in the world now.
As that grew, I guess my access to places and things changed. I'd get invited to things that I wouldn't have otherwise ever expected to be invited to. Or Oilers events, I was always at them. And so I got to be around them a lot. And then in 2010 and 2012, I was involved in 2 massive private autograph sessions with Wayne. At that time, I was the only person he had ever done a private autograph session with. And each of those sessions, one of them I did in Edmonton, and then in 2012, I created an event in my own city and brought him in for 3 days as my keynote speaker for a massive sports dinner I did and a private session. And I think we did at least 1,500 items each session that he signed for me. So, you know, I had a lot of access, and I built a pretty darn big library of autographs over the years, and we built timelines and learned intricacies and things like that. And like I said, it's like anything. When you expose yourself to something, whether it's your job or your sport or your passion, time brings you knowledge, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Take it all in.
Well, that was going to be one of my questions to you was, did you ever meet Wayne? And obviously you've had many interactions with him. So Greg, have you ever Brady?
I have a couple times. I was involved in the I was involved in the Miami incident that happened last year.
Shit.
Yeah, I was involved in that. And then I also met him about a year before that, where I was invited over to a charity event over in Naples. I actually got to catch a pass from him.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh wait, I think I saw somebody was actually. I think it might have been. I
think you might have been Daniel David. No, Barry Daniel Bowman, David, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody had posted something about that, about an experience down in Florida.
Yeah.
And you get to catch a pass from Brady and the whole thing. Oh, that's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Gretzky game-worn gloves.
Sick.
I thought it was Iron Man.
Behind me. This item right behind me here, the white thing that you're looking at that I'm pointing at, that's the last towel that Brady wore in his last game against the Cowboys, and also his last regular season game. And then right below there is the presentation ball presented to him after winning the NFC South Championship as a Buccaneer.
I'm sure
hide all my memorabilia.
We could each do a podcast just on the depth of our collections and the experiences we've had, because
no doubt.
I'm actually putting together a book right now on my life chasing Wayne, and I probably have almost 30 chapters laid out, I guess, of experiences and things that I've done. Like, I've played hockey with Wayne. I've been in golf tournaments with Wayne. I've gotten drunk with Wayne. You know, I've done lots of really fun stuff that every one of them is just a story in itself, right?
So is it just called Wayne and I,
telling
me and Wayne?
Yeah, me and chasing Wayne. I don't know. But, you know, there's so many memories and so much good stories, so many good stories and things that I love talking about it. I mean, I could tell the stories forever. I love it.
I mean, to be that close to somebody of that stature is incredible, and it's not something that everybody gets to do. You had somebody, you know, that is, you know, widely considered the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
And he was in your backyard, you know, which is, you know, to be able to
literally
see somebody like that. Yeah.
Literally.
I mean, Eric, you know, being in Chicago, I think you said you only saw Jordan play once, right?
Yep.
You know, but to have that kind of atmosphere and that energy around the city that
absolutely
you live in.
Like, it's like a tangible thing. You can feel it, you can see it. Yeah.
It's so cool though, because I remember being in Boston from 1980 to 1986 before I moved, getting to watch Jordan and Bird play in the Garden and stuff like that. It was just so cool.
I went to the Garden when I was younger. They did like the locker room tours.
Yeah.
It must have been the worst foul smelling locker room I've ever been in. It was so, oh my God. It was really bad. Really just foul. Frank, I don't know if you know this, but Greg reprimanded Tom Brady after that signing.
No, it wasn't me. It was my buddy Brad.
Oh, it was your buddy Brad? Okay.
Yeah.
After that, man, that was a disaster. That was last year.
It was last year, but I'm going to tell you something. We found out more information about it later. That it wasn't so much on Brady. It was more on the promoters. And
was it them speeding like through the process, or what?
Those two promoters had done another event with Brady the year before in Mexico, and they pissed him off. And Brady thought when he walked in the room, there was less than 100 items to be signed. I took one of his game-worn helmets in to be signed, and I got a horrible signature. But at the end of the day, he was more angry about the promoters because Brady's not stupid. He knows his stuff when it comes to his memorabilia. There's Instagram videos out there of him pointing that I got this, I got that, and it's from this game, that game, and then what. He knows what his stuff is, and he knows what it's worth. So when he walks in and he sees mine, and several other high-end collectors, including, I'm not going to mention the name, but I saw him there. But when you walk into a room and you see hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of memorabilia, you know these aren't just nickel and dime collectors.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So we think he did it on purpose, but he did it to potentially to mess with the promoters.
So
which
I
unfortunately harmed the collectors.
Yeah. I sent in an Expos jersey to that signing. It got there and then they rejected it. So for whatever reason, I don't know what it was, but they said no Expos jerseys after I had already been told that it was allowed. So once I saw all this happen, I was like, oh my God, thank God that they rejected it. This year they accepted it. I sent it in and it came out unbelievable.
Beautiful. So, that's a beautiful jersey, Frank.
Yeah. So I was really happy about that. I don't have too much Brady stuff, but I got the helmet, the throwback helmet, which is back there somewhere.
I saw it, yeah.
Yeah. And then the jersey. But
sometimes players think they know about their items and don't too. The first time Wayne toured my collection was in 2010. And I had a professional photographer there who I actually had drinks with tonight.
Right, yeah.
And he photographed the whole thing of us walking through the collection together, and it was a massive layout, like it'd fill a gymnasium. And we're going through all the sections, and we get to the game used jersey section, and we're going through, and we had talked about all of the items that I had collected leading up to this, and we're looking at this one jersey from 81-82, beautiful jersey, one of the best in the existence. He made 3 NHL records wearing the jersey, and you could tell, he was looking at the jersey with extra intrigue and scratching his chin, and I knew he was thinking. And I had explained to him what jersey it was, that it was this jersey that he had broken the records in. And he looks at it and he says, Sean, he said, that's probably definitely my jersey. He says, but that's not that jersey. My dad has that jersey in his basement. And I knew he didn't, because I had the jersey photo matched to the entire season and all the milestones that he achieved in it. But I didn't want to get lippy with the guy or challenge him, right? I couldn't do that. So anyway, I let it go, and then afterwards I talked to his agent, who was there with him, and I said, you know what, man? I said, he's wrong. Like, this is the jersey I say it is. I'll send you all the evidence. So when it all wrapped up a week later, I sent him all the video evidence and all the photo matches and the history. And then I got like, we're really sorry, man. It looks like you actually do have that jersey.
And then he had to go break the news to his father that he did not, in fact, have that.
Or the father broke the news to him. Hey, by the way, I sold that jersey for X amount of money.
Right. Yeah. To this guy, Sean. Yeah.
Right.
You know who actually gets very upset when you give him game-used items to sign? Chipper Jones.
Oh, that's interesting.
Chipper Jones.
Really?
Chipper Jones looks at it as
Why
somebody stole this from me. This was mine. Because apparently he never gave permission for anyone to take his items. So he never gave them out, things like that. Right. So when he sees a bat or a glove, he gets pretty heated, I've heard.
Well, that's why with this football behind me, that with the presentation ball, like for a while I couldn't share it with anybody. I mean, because it was literally handed to him in the locker room, and he ended up giving it to, if you need to edit this out, go for it, whatever, I don't care. But he ended up handing it to the equipment manager, and he said, here, I'll come back for it. And he never did. So,
and that's what it is, right? It's usually the clubhouse guys, in baseball, they'll, things are just sitting there unattended. They grab it, they sell it, and then, it starts making its rounds. And then when it gets back to them, they're like, okay, I would have never given that up, So so he gets.
You have to wonder why a lot of these jerseys that they win championships or milestones.
Yeah, like, why do they even hit the market?
Right? Why are these athletes giving them up? I always wondered why. Like, there's no sentimental value.
Some of them don't care.
Some of them don't care.
Can't help
well,
but wonder if that's going to start happening less and less now that these guys actually know what these things are worth and how the game use market has exploded. I just have a feeling we're not going to see as many of those huge types of items hit the market,
Yeah.
Well,
not that
they
it was,
might, but they might be coming from them versus giving it away to somebody.
Sure.
And then,
Right.
Well, it's like Sotheby's had that auction a couple months ago for Brady, and they had probably 25 or so different items. I mean, they had his wrist, they had his game worn wristband from Super Bowl 51. I'm like, Super Bowl 51. They went, I know who bought it. They ended up buying it for $250,000. I mean, I'm thinking that's got to be $1 million item, but this is the greatest Super Bowl of all time in my estimation.
That's a nice score, Wes. Good pickup.
Yeah.
I try every now and then to find something special. But
you saw some stuff in there, like from the 2000 Orange Bowl, like the jersey that he wore, and like why are these players giving this stuff up? Maybe because Brady's got so much that, I mean, he's got so many different records that he's broken that he's got enough of it on his own.
Record.
Yeah.
I mean, remember the Wembanyama jersey? That whole fiasco. I think it was earlier this year.
Yeah.
Gives it to the kid, and then all of a sudden it winds up at auction. And I feel like that stuff, for I guess some athletes, it probably does throw them off a little bit, because they're trying to do the right thing. They give it to a kid. It's sentimental. They think the kid's going to hold on to it for a long time. Maybe some of them don't care that they're making money off it. But
I'm surprised they just didn't stick with, it's got a letter.
Yeah, trust me.
Right.
I've told those auction houses, I will authenticate your Gretzky game worn stuff for free,
for nothing,
just to protect the hobby, and none of them take me up on it.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's incredible. Especially for free. You're not like, going over there looking for competition for it.
It's all
I just want to keep it clean, right?
They're all in bed with each other.
Yeah.
Fanatics is ending up with all their shit. It makes you wonder.